There is a paradigm noted in the yogic literature about the different types of seekers and the way they advance in their spiritual development. The baby monkey actively works to hold on to the mother, having to exercise its own capacities to move forward, while the baby cat surrenders to the mother who carries it by holding the scruff of the neck with her mouth. We may see this as an active compared to a more passive approach. In both cases, the seeker can reach the objective, just as the baby monkey and baby cat each go where they are intended to go. In reality, as the seeker grows and develops in the sadhana, he may undergo periods of active concentrated focus and tapasya, and other times where he is open and surrenders to the divine will and its action in a receptive, not an active status. The active approach may tend to harden the ego consciousness, and thus eventually face obstacles if it cannot then open to the psychic being and its consecration and surrender. The more passive approach may fall into a tamasic surrender, which does not carry out the required efforts under the guise of surrender. In his book, The Mother, Sri Aurobindo explains the truth of the surrender required. Quote, "Reject the false notion that the divine power will do and is bound to do everything for you at your demand, and even though you do not satisfy the conditions laid down by the Supreme. Make your surrender true and complete. Then only will all else be done for you. An inert passivity is constantly confused with the real surrender, but out of an inert passivity, nothing true and powerful can come. It is the inert passivity of physical nature that leaves it at the mercy of every obscure or undivine influence. A glad and strong and helpful submission is demanded to the working of the divine force, the obedience of the inner warrior who fights against obscurity and falsehood, of the faithful servant of the divine. The personal effort required is a triple labor of aspiration, rejection, and surrender. Note that a tamasic surrender, refusing to fulfill the conditions and calling on God to do everything and save one all the trouble and struggle, is a deception and does not lead to freedom and perfection." End quote. Sri Aurobindo writes, quote, "There are always two ways of doing the yoga. One by the action of a vigilant mind and vital seeing, observing, thinking, and deciding what is or is not to be done. Of course, it acts with the divine force behind it, drawing or calling in that force, for otherwise nothing much can be done. But still, it is the personal effort that is prominent and assumes most of the burden. The other way is that of the psychic being, the consciousness opening to the divine, not only opening the psychic and bringing it forward, but opening the mind, the vital, and the physical, receiving the light, perceiving what is to be done, feeling and seeing it done by the divine force itself, and helping constantly by its own vigilant and conscious assent to and calling for the divine working. Usually, there cannot but be a mixture of these two ways until the consciousness is ready to be entirely open, entirely submitted to the divine's origination of all its action. It is then that all responsibility disappears, and there is no personal burden on the shoulders of the sadhak." End quote. Reference: Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, The Psychic Being, Soul, Its Nature, Mission, and Evolution, Section 4, The Psychic Being and Sadhana, pages 119 to 120.